friends, how are you? I think you must have been fit and fine. And today we are going to discuss about the topic the Anglo-Saxon and our Old English period. The time period is 450 to 1050 as you can see on the screen. Before proceeding on the topic, I would like to urge to all of you, request to all of you that please subscribe the channel if you didn't subscribe yet. So please subscribe, okay, and please give your precious likes, comment and share. All right, thank you. So as you can see on the screen, friends, that the topic is visible on the computer screen. Today we are going to discuss about the Anglo-Saxon or Old English period, right? Actually this is the first poetry, right, which was written first time in the history of English period, right? The name is Beowulf, okay, and the lecture is related to the history of English literature. Fine, so let's start the topic and let's move on the first slide, right? As you can see on the screen here, the first battle, Grendel, right? So let's start the topic. Actually this is an epic, right? This is an historical epic, right? And so the what basically has been narrated in this epic that I'm going to explain you in English, right? And hopefully you will understand completely, okay? So bear with me, right? So let's start the topic. The very first line on the computer screen here, right from here you can see Beowulf begins with the story of Hrothgar, right? Beowulf starts his story with the Hrothgar. Hrothgar is a king who constructed the great hall, made the great hall. Herod is the name of that hall, and for himself, okay, and his warriors, right, in it. His wife with how and his warriors spent their time singing and celebrating. They spent a lot of time over there in celebrating and singing, okay. And then Grendel is a name of a devil or demon, you can say here, a troll-like monster said to be descended from a biblical Cain. Actually it's said to be that he is going to descend from a biblical Cain, all right. It's pained by the sounds of joy, right? Actually the sound which was related to joy is ultimately suddenly converted into the pain, right? Grendel attacked the hall and kills and devours many of Hrothgar's warriors, right? Actually he's suddenly attacked and killed a lot of warriors, right? And apart from this, the Hrothgar's warriors, while they sleep, Hrothgar, right, at the time of when were they sleeping, okay. And Hrothgar and his people were helpless against Grendel, abandoned Herod. They leave Herod, right? Next, let's move on the very second line here. Beowulf, a young warrior from Geatland, hears a Hrothgar's troubles. Actually Beowulf is a young warrior from Geatland. It's a different place, right? He came to know about the Hrothgar's troubles and with his king's permission labels his homeland to against Hrothgar. With his king's permissions leaves his homeland, right? He leaves, it's still not label, leaves. He is here his homeland to against Hrothgar. Fine. Let's see in the next line. Beowulf and his men spent the night in Herod. They spent the night in Herod, right? And Beowulf refused to use any weapon. He denied to use any weapon because he holds himself to be Grendel's equal. Actually he considered himself that he is equal to the Grendel, right? When Grendel enters the hall, Beowulf, who has been sleeping, feigning sleep means he was pretending to sleep, but actually he was not sleeping, he was half asleep, right? You can see, lifts up to clench Grendel's hand. He clenched the Grendel's hand, right? And then what happened next? Then Grendel and Beowulf battle each other violently. They fought violently, and Beowulf draw their sword, right? Beowulf's retainers draw their sword, right? Taken out their sword and rushed to his head aid. Alright, but their blades cannot pierce Grendel's skin, but he was not able to cut the Grendel's skin. Fine. Finally Beowulf tears Grendel, and finally Beowulf tears Grendel, right, successfully. One arm of his body, right, at the shoulder, right? And Grendel runs to his home in the marshes where he dies. And what happened later, then Grendel's wounded, and in that great pain, right, and in that you can say that he had a very strong troubles, right, he wounded, injured, and then he rushed to the his home, right, in the marshes, where he died finally. Okay, let's see what happens next. Beowulf shows the whole of Grendel's shoulder and arm, right, his awesome grasp, his outstanding grasp, right, caught for all to see at Herod, for all to see at the Herod, right. This display would fuel Grendel's mother anger in revenge. Actually, this display, what happens later, after hearing the death of the Grendels, his mother becomes angry, right, and he was thinking of revenge. Fine, let's see what happens next. Let's move on the next slide. Here you can see on your computer screen the just a moment, the second battle, Grendel's mother. Now his mother decided to fight, right, with with Beowulf, and let's see what happens, what development takes place here. In the line, the next night, on the very next night, after celebrating Grendel's defeat, Hrothgar and his men sleep in Herod. Actually, they were celebrating, enjoying, and they were taking rest in Herod. Grendel's mother, angry that her son has been killed, fine, sets out to get revenge Beowulf elsewhere, right. She was firmly determined that she will definitely take the revenge. Earlier, after the award of treasure, right, the Geat had been given another lodging. The Geat had been given another work task, right. His assistants would be absent this battle. His helper would be absent in this battle. Okay, I hope you must have understood. You must have been understanding very well, I hope. And Grendel's mother violently kills Aishen, right. Aishen, who is Hrothgar's most loyal fighter, and escapes. You know what she did? She killed a fighter, a very loyal fighter, and then run away. Okay. Hrothgar, Beowulf, and their men track Grendel's mother. They tracked, all right. They went back to him, right, and to her lair, and under a lake. Why? And Unferro, a warrior who have earlier challenged him. Unferro was a warrior who have earlier challenged him. Presents Beowulf, with Beowulf with his sword hunting, right. After stipulating a number of conditions to Hrothgar in case of his death, there was a lot of conditions stipulated regarding the death of Hrothgar, but that was he eventually saved himself, right, including the taking his kinsman and the inheritance. His kinsman's, his supporters and inheritance of unfurth of Beowulf's state and all the belongings, right, they had taken away. Fine. Now let's move forward. What happens on the ground? Beowulf jumps into the lakes. Beowulf finally jumps into the lake, and while harassed by water monster, he further fought with water monsters, gets to the bottom. Okay, before reaching to the bottom, where he finds a cave-in, right, Grendel's mother pulls him in, right. Grendel's mother's, she pulls underwater, right, and she and Beowulf engage in a fierce combat, ferocious combat. Fine, let's see in the next paragraph here, friends. And at first, Grendel's mother prevails. First of all, what happens later? The Grendel's mother, prevails means she becomes very tough for the Beowulf, right. He was not able to fight very well in starting of the war, and her hunting proves incapable of hurting her, and his sword proves incapable of hurting her. She throws Beowulf to the ground and sitting over him, right, tries to kill him, and with his sword, right. But Beowulf is saved by his armor. But Beowulf was successful saving his, right, and Beowulf sports another sword. Actually, what happened later? Beowulf finds another sword over there, right, hanging on the wall, and apparently made for giants. And finally, he used that to cut her head off with it. Finally, he cut the head of with it and traveling further into Grendel's mother lair, and after that he went to further into lair. Beowulf discovers Grendel's corpse. Beowulf discover corpse, right, and severs his head and cuts his head with the sword, but its blades melt. Okay, because of the monster's hot blood, because the blood was very hot, and just because of that the blade melted, right, and leaving only the hilt only the tip of the top of the sword was left, right. Beowulf swims back up to the edge of the lake where his main weight, right, carrying the hilt of the sword, and Grendel said, right, and he presents them. Finally he presents them what he found from the place where they were living, right, the cave, and he presents them to Hrothgar upon his return to the Herod, right, and let's move forward. Hrothgar gives Beowulf many gifts. What happens later in exchange of that? Hrothgar becomes happy, and he decided giving many gifts to the finally Beowulf, right, in the name, like you can see over there, the sword Nageling, he provided in new sword, which name was Nageling, and his family's heirloom, his family's belongings, heirlooms, prestigious heirloom he provided him, right. The event prompted long reflection by the king. Sometimes the events looked like a long reflection by the king, sometimes referred to as a Herzogen sermon. After that he delivered a lot of sermon or sermon like speech, in which he urged Beowulf, he requests Beowulf to be alert, right, upright, and to reward his thanes, right, and apart from this he rewards further to his thanes, means warriors, supporters, his or soldier, right, you can say. So here is this was the second battle which was fought between the Grendel's mother and Beowulf, and finally Beowulf defeated the Grendel's mother and won the war combat, right. Let's see on the next slide over here, the final battle, the dragon, right. What happens later here, friends? This is the last part of this Beowulf poetry. Actually it was written in the Anglo-Saxon period, and anonymously. There was no writer claimed that nobody knows that actually who have written this epic in the form of poetry, but after that there are many writers who written this, right, in their preferred language, right. But here let's come to the point. This is the final battle between the dragon and the Beowulf. So in the first paragraph here you can see on your computer screen, friends. Beowulf returns home and eventually becomes king of his own people. Fine, he returns home and becomes the king. Fine. One day, 50 years later, Beowulf battle with Grendel's mother. Right, Beowulf's battle with Grendel's mother, which was happened 50 years back. Right, a slave. What happened here? A slave steals a golden cup, fine, from a lair, from a cave of a dragon. Emanates, right? Emanates when the dragon sees, and then when that dragon sees him, that what he decided, the cup has been stolen, and it leaves its keg in rage. And after that, what happened? He leaves the keg in a ferocious, terrible outrage, right? Burning everything on the site. Beowulf and his warriors come to fight the dragon. Beowulf and his warriors come to fight to the dragon, right? But what happened? But Beowulf tells his men that they will have to stay back, right? Because he decided to fight with dragon alone. Fine. And then what happened next? They should wait on the, and further he told them that they should wait on the barrow. Barrow is something like a there's a small mountain, you can say. All right, but finds himself. But what happened later? Beowulf finds himself outmatched here. That means there was no match. He was outmatched, right, in front of the dragon. Okay. His men, upon seeing this, after seeing this, they feared of their lives, and finally decided into woods. Finally, stepped back into the woods. one of his band. And what happened then? Finally, suddenly one of his band decided, then Wiglaf, his name was Wiglaf. He looks on the conditions, on the situation, and he was in great distress at Beowulf's plight. Right, plight means he was the Beowulf was in a great sorrow, or great you can finance danger, right, dangerous conditions, and threatening condition to his life, and he decided to come to his aid. Fine, let's see what happens next. The two slay them. Actually, what happened later? The two slay the dragon. Finally, they kill the dragon, but Beowulf is mortally wounded. But Beowulf becomes wounded, and after that, finally, the Beowulf dies. Okay. You know what, friends? Here, the Wiglaf remains his side. Wiglaf's left alone, and he tries to overcome his sorrow. Right? He tries to come out of his sorrow. Grief is stricken. Right? When the rest of the men finally return, and what happened? The men who have left out the place, they finally return back on the place, and when they saw him, right, the Wiglaf saw him. Wiglaf finally bitterly admonishes them, right, means scolded them, right. He scolded them, and he said them that they should not go, they should haven't gone from there, because after doing this, they blaming them that just because of their cowardice, it consequently, what happened, just because of their cowardice, for Beowulf's death, he considered themselves faulty, right, convicted for the Beowulf death, right. Beowulf is ritually burnt. What happened later? Beowulf is ritually burnt on a great fire, right, on a very large fire in Geatland, while his people wail and mourning, while his people was weeping in a great sorrow, and they were in a highly pain, right, and fearing that without him the Geats are defenseless against attacks from surrounding tribes. Actually, after departing, the Beowulf, they were helpless, and they were thinking about that who will save them, because they were the dangerous conditions, they were the possibility of attacking from the tribes, right. Afterwards, a barrow, which I earlier told you what actually barrow, visible from the sea makes of a visible barrow. Okay, it was built in his memory by the sea. Actually, there was a barrow was built by the sea in Beowulf memory, right. I hope you really have enjoyed, you must have enjoyed this little lecture, my dear friends, and I sincerely appeal to all of you that please subscribe my channel. And it was the basically literature section today. This lecture was related to literature, right, English literature, the history of English literature, and those students who are preparing for the English literature, like for their competitive examinations, government examinations, like TGT, PGT, and English NET, they can subscribe the channel, and this is our promise to you that we will deliver our level best. We will help you out in every conditions. We will try, okay, whatever we can do for you, we definitely will deliver. And apart from this is the time to say goodbye, right. So hopefully you must have enjoyed, and I sincerely once again request to all of you, my humble request to all of you, that please support us, and please give your love, your support, your compliments is always really value for us, right, and they are the source of energy for us, right, and we will produce the same videos in the future as well. This is our promise to all of you. Okay, okay guys, thank you, meet again, right, in the next video. Till then, thank you, bye.